Hi, Lori. It's Gary.
Hi. Lisa, did you forget my name already? It's been so long.
Yeah. Hey, are you guys open for dog licenses?
Yeah.
All right. I'll visit you there and get sworn in.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
So is there any way of getting my name at the bottom of my face?
Huh? Getting your name?
Yeah. Is my name on the
I
camera?
see you. Yeah, I see your name. It's actually at the top, but.
Okay. What the hell?
Mhm. Hi, Wayne.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. We're getting there. Unbelievable. Just too much going on.
Tell me about it. I know the field looks good though.
Yeah, field's coming out really nice.
Good,
We're
yeah.
putting up the fence today.
Nice.
Goal posts are up. They're just finishing the sidelines and then they should be pretty much done.
Good. Now, are you going in at the, is anybody, are you guys working in the offices over there or no?
The Board of Ed offices open back up today, full time.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we've been open for a couple weeks to the public anyway.
so far so
Hi,
good.
Lisa. Steve Jeskowitz
Steve.
online.
Hi, Steve.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, good. Lisa, I'll wait a couple minutes and who's online already, by the way?
Well, I see Gary, Wayne. Jerry, is that you? Jerry Tominski?
Steve Shuttleworth's here.
Oh, Steve.
Hi, this is
Steve
Kate. I
McIntyre.
just called in.
Okay. I have a
Okay.
couple.
Steve McIntyre here. Can you hear
So
me?
Gary, Wayne, Steve, Kate, and Pete, and myself. So
Jerry's there. His name keeps popping up.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yep. Now we can.
I can see you, Jerry. Wow, we got everybody online except for Bob. That's
Bob,
great.
yeah, Bob's not going to be here. He's working.
Right, yeah, I saw his email. Thanks. And anyone from SPA or O&G online yet?
I don't see any of them.
Yeah, we're basically going to be paying bills tonight. Wayne, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right, I'll wait a couple more minutes here and we'll start the meeting. So everybody just stand by.
And I'm calling in from the car. I had to go pick up my farm share. Otherwise, it gets donated to the food pantry, and I really wanted it this week.
Understand that? You got to eat.
I didn't want to miss out on fennel. It's one of my favorites.
Lisa.
Oh, hi, Mike.
Steve is on the phone.
Let's see.
Steve June?
Yes.
Steve June,
Sorry.
okay.
Good point.
Okay, it's 5 p.m. on the 22nd of June, 2020. This is Steve Jeskowitz on the line, Chairman of the Town of Ledyard Permanent Municipal Building Committee. This is a special meeting being held remotely by phone and WebEx. And we're going to go ahead and call the meeting in order. Keep in mind this is a special meeting, so we will stick with the agenda. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I'll call the order. Please signify by saying your name and the organization you represent if you are not a member of the PMBC. Steve Jeskowitz, PMBC.
Pete McIntyre, PMBC Vice Chair. Jerry Tominski, PMBC.
Kate DePalma-Hurd, Board of Education.
Steve Shuttleworth, PMBC.
Gary Schneider, PMBC.
Wayne Donaldson, Ledyard Public Schools.
Mike Brennan, O&G.
Stephen June,
Yes,
Silver
O&G.
Petrucelli Architects.
Okay, with that, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including myself, voting members, so we have a quorum. And this is a special meeting, so we don't have citizens petitions or anything. The first item that we have is the minutes approval from 1 June 2020. Lisa, they weren't attached to my agenda. Were they distributed other than online?
Yeah, I sent them, they're always sent separately because I can't send them together. Did everybody else
Okay.
get the minutes?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I just wanted to make sure that the committee has actually reviewed the minutes, and if that is in fact the case, then not a problem. And I will entertain, sorry, was someone chiming in? Okay, if not, the minutes of 1 June 2020 are available through the website. And I will entertain motions to accept the minutes.
So moved. Steve Shuttleworth.
Okay, Ms. Shuttleworth, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Was that you, Jerry?
Yeah.
Okay, second by Mr. Tominski. That, the motion has been seconded. Is there any discussion of the minutes? If there are no discussions of the minutes, all in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying your name and aye. Steve Jeskowitz, aye.
Jerry McIntyre, aye.
Steve Shuttleworth, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Kate DePalma-Hurd, aye.
And Jerry, I don't know if you broke up, but is that an aye?
Yeah, aye.
All right, aye. All right, with that, the minutes are approved. All right, continuing on the agenda. Next item on the agenda is our Ledyard School Improvement Project. I'd just like to get a quick update. Again, the purpose for this meeting today is to get some bills paid and to keep things moving along rather than have our long meeting. So hopefully this will be a relatively short one. And also with the track and field project, we weren't sure if a couple of things were going to require our action or not. So as far as the Ledyard Middle School and Gallup Hill, Wayne, if you want to give us a quick update on those projects, and then we'll go to O&G and Silver Petrucelli.
Okay, I started at the middle school. The work on the mag hold opens for the doors are complete. There's some testing that's supposed to go on tomorrow with the fire marshal to verify that they're operating properly. The control board for the auditorium lighting failed, so we didn't have any lighting in the auditorium at the middle school. That's scheduled to be replaced tomorrow. The changes were made to the ventilation system in room 318 to allow, hopefully to reduce that noise that's in that room. Don't know how the results have come out yet. Sort of plantings at the middle school, O&G has been aware did not come back to life with the, after the winter. And I went through the punch list, which was sent to the board members last week. And right now there's currently 161 open items at the middle school. At Gallup Hill, the urinal screen was installed in the restroom late last week. There's still an odor issue in the boys' restroom where that urinal screen was installed. We're still having, there's numerous ceiling tiles that have stains. I don't know if they're roof issues or, HVAC issues. And I also don't know if some of these are old, where the ceiling tiles were just never changed out. So we do have an issue there. So far, we don't have any resolution of the HVAC issues. As far as the noise and stuff in the rooms, I believe just had something to do on the balancing report, but I don't think it was accurate, and they have to go back and make some changes on that. All they did was adjust the airflow into the rooms to what matched the balancing point originally, and we had changed those just to simply to get heat in the rooms. So I believe they had to go back and take levels with how we had changed them. Amanda is trying to schedule a trip back for a furniture install. Finish the furniture install in the offices at Gallup Hill. There's a volume issue with the projectors. AdTech was in and finished their work. They're saying that it's an O&G issue, which I turned over to O&G. I don't know whether it's AdTech's or O&G's issue. And I went through the punch list, and there's currently 175 open items at Gallup Hill.
Okay, and when we say the punch list, that's a total number of open items. That would include things that were not particularly on the original punch list, correct?
Yeah, there are maybe 15 or 20 items of that are either change orders or, stuff like that. A few of them, there's a very small, maybe 10 items that are furniture related with Amanda.
Okay,
There are
understand.
some changes that were made, change orders that were done for different things.
Okay, Mike Brennan, you'll get a chance to chime in here shortly, but obviously you guys are working together to get these last items closed out.
Yeah, Mike's been very good about, getting people in to get a lot of them cleared off.
Okay. Anything else, Wayne, to add in right now on LMS or Gallup Hill?
The only other thing that for LMS would be the sign. Dan had asked me to get pricing from a local contractor to do the foundation work for the sign, which we did. So I think he's got that to come up a little later.
Hang on for a second here. Let me roll back. You talking about for the monument sign?
For the monument sign, yes.
All right. I'm a little bit confused. I thought that foundation was put in and it's been concrete sitting there for months.
The foundation was put in. They poured I think it was like a 4-inch slab at ground level. And Dan was concerned dramatically about the weight and the height of the structure that was going to be on top of it not being supported. So what they did was redrew it to come out with to go down 4 feet, put in a footing and a foundation to support that.
All right, this is starting to get out of hand, and I don't understand it. And Mike Brennan, if you can please chime in on this. I don't understand. If we had a foundation poured, I'm a little bit confused as to why we're back dealing with concrete again on this. And this is expanding the cost of this, and it's getting out of control. So can you weigh in on this?
I'll tell you what I do know of it, Steve.
Jump in at any point, Mike.
Oh, Dan, are you there? I didn't see you on. Okay, Dan, go ahead.
So Steve, this is Dan Hetzler. The original design back 2 years ago did call for a 6-inch slab on stone. We questioned it back at the time and were given confirmation that that's all that the monument sign needed. And then just in a fundamental, standing there looking at something that's going to weigh roughly 1,800 pounds, Wayne spot on. I brought it back up again. And I said, it just seems inappropriate. I was out in the field with both Steve June and Wayne, and we discussed it, and we said we would reach out to a local vendor to see, if we could get a good, and that price did come in very cost effective. So the root of the problem is 2 years ago, we asked the question, but, just not comfortable with the response. It's too big of a sign and it's too shallow of a footing.
So did we design too big of a sign?
The design was always there. Nothing's changed in the 2 years since it was put out to bid.
And what was the estimate for from the local vendor to fix the foundation?
$1,550. I have to pull it up. I haven't actually. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it's
$1,550.
Yep. Thank you, Wayne.
All right. This to me is just ridiculous that after all this time that we have to go out and hire another company to come in and put the foundation in for the sign. We sat there and looked at that concrete for all this time and it was never an issue. And now we're looking at it and saying we have an issue. I don't want the sign to fall and us have to deal with it later and cost even more. Don't get me wrong. But it just seems kind of nuts that we've waited this long and that original design was, who did the original design? Was that part of the regular design or was that a BSC thing or?
BSC drafted it. They relied on their soil engineer, structural engineer to make the determination when I asked the question a couple of years ago.
All right, so this $1,500 would be something that we'd be paying for on, because that sign's already, shop drawings are done, it's being delivered, right?
Yep, the shop drawing, the last comments were received early last week from BSC. And now we're into the fab stage for the precast and the granite. It's roughly 4 weeks out.
All right, Wayne, can you have that in front of us at our next meeting, please?
Yes, I will. Dan has it, so
All right.
I'll make sure it gets to Lisa.
Well, is it going through O&G or is it going through us independent of O&G?
That would be your choice. It can go either way.
Well, here's the reason I bring it up and I ask the question, is because if in fact there's a problem when O&G is doing the contract for the sign that's going to go on top of it, right?
Yep.
And I don't want there to be finger pointing and issues later between, and on how this all works. And I guess the question is, it's a lot more expensive to bring our concrete vendor back out, correct?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So can we do that from a standpoint of this contract? I mean, because my guess is, is there prevailing wage issues involved here and what's involved?
If you're funding it through funds that are from the state for this project. In other words, even if the town does go out and contract for this directly, the contractor would be required to pay prevailing wage. Now he's a self-performer, so that makes him exempt. So accurately, he doesn't have to pay himself prevailing wage.
In other words, self-performer. Okay, go ahead.
Steve, we were simply going to handle this through a purchase order direct to the local vendor and have it come through our billing as a simple PO and not have it get really involved in it, so to speak.
Okay, good. What I wanted to avoid was where the town pays for this outside of O&G, and then we have a problem down the road where we're back and forth finger pointing. Understand now how it's being handled, and it makes sense to move forward that way. Okay. Okay. Yeah, nothing simple. All right. So with that, Wayne, do you have anything else to pass on the school projects?
No, not on the projects.
Okay. All right. So with that, O&G, would you like to? We're obviously going to do some change orders and things here today, but And I guess the question I want like you to address, Mike or Dan, either one of you is it common to have items that are still outstanding, small items on a punch list, when we close out a project for the purposes of a state? Because every month that we wait to close out with the state, we have short-term versus long-term borrowing costs and things to think about. So I'd like you to address that, if you would, along with how things are going.
There may very well, Steve, be some I want to call them warranty issues that we're tracking on this so-called punch list. Those could hang out there. We could still close this project out. I got Wayne's email, excuse me, the punch list on Friday. I've been going through them. Just be aware that, Wayne mentioned some numbers out there, and I did a quick assessment today of, for example, door issues. We have, and the closers have yet to be replaced because the manufacturer was testing a bunch of different type. There's, I think on Gallup Hill, there's like 38 door closers. So out of those numbers that we're talking about, there's similarities across the board on a lot of these items with related to doors, let's say.
All right, so
That's absolutely accurate.
So
I'm sorry?
the 38. Go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, that's absolutely accurate. There are multiple things, like the door closers are one, there's some paint issues on another one. So there are, some very similar things. They may not all be in the same room, but that one vendor would come back and knock off, multiple items in one trip.
All right, so if we had 38 door closer issues, all the same model, the same kind of door closer, it would be 38 items on this list.
Correct.
Okay, all right, I understand now. So whereas as opposed to having one item that says we have problems with door closers in the following rooms and they're all listed under one item, this way if they fix some, you can clear them without I understand why the list is the way it is.
Yes.
All right, that helps bring down the magnitude of a list substantially when we look at it from that perspective.
All
right.
I'm going through the list, Steve. So I want to sit down with Wayne sometime this week, so we're both on the same page and review it together and go from there. Pretty much we're cleaning up all the change order work that have been managed to move forward. One thing at Gallup that Wayne did not mention was we started the safe room work. The demolition has been done in the 2 rooms. That will continue through the month of, the month of July. We should wrap that up certainly by the end of July. So that ought to be done as well. As Wayne mentioned, we're going to test the mag holes tomorrow with the fire marshal. So that'll be cleaned up. The only change order that I know of outstanding the work, I'm still waiting for the fixtures, the high fixtures I call them, for the LMS stage. That they are not in yet. I'm still trying to track them down. I sent you the pictures on the vermiculite. That's all cleaned up. That's pretty much it. We're still working to, clean up all the change order work. And again, I'm trying to get the punch list cleaned up.
Yeah, while we're on the vermiculite real quick there, Wayne, I realize we haven't had a whole lot of rain since then, but I guess the question is, are we pretty confident we got the problem fixed here?
Well, we won't know until we get rain. I'm thinking so. With the dry weather, I had my custodian scrape down the walls where the paint was peeling and stuff, and we got a dry lock type paint to put on there that hopefully, if there is any moisture left in other walls that we didn't abate, that might keep the paint on and solve the problem that way also. But yeah, we just haven't had any rain to see if there's any continued moisture penetration.
Okay, I understand. All right, Mike, you and Dan, anything else you guys have?
Steve, I have a question.
Good. No, I'm all set. That's pretty much it for me. We'll probably try to get a rec into the next meeting, which is, I'm guessing it's probably, right after the 4th, the following week after the 4th.
July
Right.
6th.
July 6th, okay.
Steve, I have a
Right.
quick-
And look, yeah, that's important because we won't have another meeting for a month. So yeah.
Steve,
Go ahead.
this is Jerry. I have a question, Mike, on warranty work. I'm curious on the cost issues. If we, like the floor in, the gym floor in the middle school, or if we have to put some kind of construction into the heated Gallup Hill or air conditioning, how do we account for the payment for that? Do we incorporate some cost in the payment, the closeout to the state? Do we hold money back? How does that work?
Well, right now I have $50,000 set aside in a line item in the cost report for something to happen there, if in fact it needs to happen. I'm not sure, Jer, if we're able to close that out with any pending change orders. I don't. Here's the thing: we could certainly execute a change order, have the money set aside, and perhaps make a revision post closeout. That was one thing I was thinking in the back of my mind on how to be able to, structure it, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm curious of where and Steve, this would be this more for us, I guess, or the town. How do we hold on to dollars if we have to do something a year from now to fix a problem in the gym floor or the air conditioning and the heating at Gallup Hill?
Yeah, that is a good point, Jerry. And I've given that some thought. And I look and say, it's not like we can get money escrowed against a vendor somewhere. We have to work our way through these vendors and make ourselves whole with them, or have some, because when the project's closed, the project's closed. The town can continue to spend money that would not be sent to the state and reimbursed by the state in the project. As long as we follow certain rules, we can continue to do that to some degree. We've done that and made purchases outside of our O&G contract. However, we would not be reimbursed for those things. And what we have to do is we have to do the analysis and ask ourselves the question is, what is the cost to not closing the project out monthly from a financing standpoint? And then ask ourselves, even if we had a $40,000 bill down the road, we better off closing it out and taking some chance there just to get our state money faster. So I've got to sit down and talk to Marcia Hancock about that. We'll have to see what our exposure is on those things and go from there. We may, in fact, be able to have an answer on the gym floor before we close this thing out on what we're going to do and put that into this before. And even if, that work is ongoing there as we close out, we'll have to figure that out.
All right, because there could be, as long as there's no surprises that somewhere we close it out, and all of a sudden we're looking to raise 75 or 50 or $75,000.
Yeah, we have to look at what it's costing us every month to not close out from a finance standpoint. I think it's good.
But even if it costs you that, what is that's money we'd have to divert to pay for something else. Where are we going to get the money to pay that? It's not clear how this all works if we close out something that's not finalized.
Yeah, and again, we got to, even if, let's say we have $50,000 worth of exposure out there and a potential problem that we would not be able to put through the contract, that $50,000, if it's costing us $50,000 a month to not close out in finance costs, and that's a possibility. Again, we have to run the numbers and see, where's that knee in the curve where it makes sense to close out.
You're saying none of this is going to be reimbursable to us.
In that case, if we were closed out, it probably would not be reimbursable in that case.
Okay, so
But there may be some things that
you'd have to calculate the 62% we wouldn't get from the state.
correct, and then we have to figure it out from there.
We got to figure that one out.
But if it's something, again, even at 62%, we do the math, $10,000, $15,000 is definitely not worth holding off closing out the project, that's for sure. I can tell you that right off the bat, just looking at the numbers. But we'll take a closer look at that between now and our next meeting. All right, Steve June, do you have anything to pass?
Just that our office is maybe working probably 2 hours total, just a week, answering miscellaneous questions, reviewing change orders. So my work is very limited, or our work is very limited. What's going on?
Understand. I did have a question for you. In your invoice that came for this month, you actually, I noticed that Dean Petrucelli had billed us 14 hours. And I was wondering if you could shed any insight on that.
And how long is that over? What period of time? Is that a month?
I'm sorry, Steve, would you say that again? I didn't hear you.
Oh, what is the time period for those 14 hours? Is it 1 month?
It was last month, over the month, yeah. But it's weird because normally he doesn't bill that much, and it was against one school. And I just wasn't sure what that...
There are other people in the office that are working on this project. It could be most likely it's the mechanical engineers due to the issues. I've been attending these meetings, so I could see that being justifiable.
No, it was all the hours were against Dean Petrucelli. That's the only reason I asked, because you guys are billing time materials right now.
Yeah.
So it was 14 hours of Dean, but like 7 hours of your time. It just seemed like that didn't make sense based on.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Dean is charging for his hours. I can find out. I do not know offhand right now why he's putting in hours.
Yeah, if you could see what the 14 hours that that Dean charges for, if there was something to do with project closeout or something had to be done, understand. Just like to get a little bit more on that, because I figured you would be the one charging the most hours, or one of the engineers as opposed to one of the principals.
Understood.
So, all right.
I will find out.
Thank you. All right, so I think that's everybody, and we'll go ahead and get into the payment of invoices and change orders. The first item on the agenda is Roman numeral 5, number 3 is change order number 210. This is a closeout change order, deleting $22,836 from ConnAcoustics Allowance. And again, this is a negative change order. It is in order, and I move that we accept the change order. This is for Gallup Hill.
Second, Steve Shuttleworth.
Second by Mr. Shuttleworth. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the negative change order signify by saying your name and aye. Steve Jeskowitz, aye.
Steve McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Cheminsky, aye.
Steve Shuttleworth, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
I'm not sure if we lost Kate.
Is Kate still there? Kate?
Either way, we have enough votes for, and we'll have, we'll see if Kate rolls back in.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I was hitting the, okay.
All right, Kate, is that an aye?
Aye.
All right, with that, the change order is accepted. Number 4 on the agenda, change order number 254 for Ledyard Middle School, a negative change order on the flooring allowance closeout in the amount of $2,687. That change order is in order, and I move that we accept the change order.
Second, Steve Shuttleworth.
Second by Mr. Shuttleworth. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the change order signify by saying your name and aye. Steve Jeskowitz, aye.
Steve McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Cheminsky, aye.
Kate Mama Herb, aye.
Steve Shuttleworth, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Okay, with that, the ayes have it. The change order is accepted. Moving on to the payment of invoices. I got 2 invoices here. The first is for Gallup Hill School. This is a Silver Petrucelli and Associates invoice. This is their time and materials to us right now, and it's in the amount of $1,643.50. That invoice is in order. Everything makes sense, and I move that we accept that change order. Excuse me, accept the invoice and make payment.
Second, aye. Steve Shuttleworth.
Okay, that's been seconded by Mr. Shuttleworth. Is there any discussion? The comments I made, by the way, are on the other Silver Petrucelli invoice. All in favor, is there any discussion? There is none. All in favor of accepting and approving payment on the Silver Petrucelli invoice in the amount of $1,643.50, signify by saying aye.
Steve McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Trinsky, aye.
Gary
Kate
Schiffer,
Palmer,
aye.
aye.
Steve Shuttleworth, aye.
All right, with that, Gary, did you weigh in?
Yes, he did.
Okay, sorry, checking them off, I missed them. All right, with that, the payment is approved. Number 7 is Silver Petrucelli and Associates invoice 20-1000. This is in the amount of $4,275.25. This is the one I just brought up a comment to Steve June on. So what I would like to do is, only because it's, I look at all the hours month to month, and this one just looks like it might be a typo. So with that, I'd like Steve, if you can go back and verify that 14 hours for Dean. If in fact that's correct, let us know, and we'll make payment on our next meeting.
I'm writing an email now to Dean, so.
All right, appreciate that. All right, thank you very much. Anyone have any issues with me tabling that?
No, Steve Shuttleworth.
Okay, that's enough for us to not approve it, just 2 people, so we'll continue to move on. All right, the next item, all right, that's all the invoices we have for the Ledyard Middle School, Gallup Hill School projects. I just want to just talk committee here for a minute and let you know that as we approach closeout on this, I'm going to be doing some research on all the processes for closing things out. And Wayne, since you guys at the Board of Ed actually filed a state reimbursement, can you provide us some update at our next meeting on the last filings for reimbursement you have? The closeout of this actually requires some EDO forms and things. So everybody that has a role in this, we need to go start doing our homework and look at how we close out the project. And we'll get some more information. I'm sure on the state website they have some tips for closing out projects. I'm going to be reviewing those over the next 2 weeks. And at our next meeting, we can start discussing the plan for doing that and how we would do it. I need to have some discussions with Marcia Hancock. And obviously we'll get our team together here and we'll figure out what the right path is moving forward so we can get this project closed out. The number of things on the punch list items doesn't really scare me that much, especially if we have multiple items that show up. If there's paint that's bad in 8 hallways and that's 8 items, I can live with that better than 160 items where 1 item is 38 doors. So we'll continue to close those things out and take advantage of the fact we have the school buildings right now in the summertime. We can get a lot of work done. The thing that worries me the most is the gym floor and those 4 rooms at Gallup Hill School where we still have HVAC problems. If in fact our long-term solution is some augmentation in there, we should know what we have for exposure and all that. And for O&G, I'd like us at our next meeting for you to lay out for us the courses of action and the potential courses of action and cost estimates for the gym floor, ranging from refinishing and sealing to replacement of the maple. So depending on what we have there, if you can give us some ideas of what we're talking about there. So with that, is there any other business for the committee dealing with the Ledyard Middle School or Gallup Hill School that we need to discuss tonight at this special meeting?
Hi, this is Kate. I just wanted to make one comment. So as O&G has the opportunity to review the punch list and group the items that go together, I was hoping that you would consider providing estimated completion dates on the open items at our next meeting so that we can get a timeline in our minds.
Yeah, that's great. And also, if we can indicate whether we're waiting for parts or waiting for the vendor, or, if there's something outside of someone just showing up and doing something, if something's on long-term order or there's a problem, defective part or something, let us know that as well. Thanks, Kate. Hey, if there's nothing else, ONG and SPA, you're welcome to stay on the meeting. It's a public meeting. If not, you can feel free to go in and have your dinner.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Good night.
All right, thanks, guys. All right, moving on to the Ledyard High School Track and Field Project. The Wayne, just want to give us a quick update on just what's going on.
The work is progressing very well. All the turf is in, all the lettering, the numbers are cut in, the kernels. I will make you aware that there was a change made in the kernels. We got called out by the GeoTurf with some concerns they had about the location. Where it was originally designed to go would interfere with the marking lines and boundary foul lines and stuff for the different sports. So they were moved, the kernels were moved into the end zones. So that worked out actually very well. It looks really good. I don't know if any of you had seen the aerial pictures of them. So that's why they were moved that way. And also,
Go ahead. Wayne, that's just a matter of they cut out the green and put in the letters in a different spot, right?
Correct. They actually cut out the blue in the end zone past the goalpost, or just before the goalpost, I'm not sure which, and inserted them there. So there were blue letters in a blue field with a white border around them. So actually they stand out pretty well.
Okay.
Okay. Work will start. They began the infill installation into the turf today. So that was started. The paving is complete. Hydro seeding is complete. The track fence was being installed today. And some of the field maintenance equipment has been delivered. Tentatively, we have training on that with the school staff set for this Friday. They are doing the install of the or the testing of the lights tonight. That's all I have for that right now.
Yeah, I have a question when we get to the invoice from Musco Sport Lighting here in a minute. We'll get to that in a few minutes then. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and go through the items on the agenda here. The first is Castle Booz and Associates, who is the architect and designer for this.
Hey, any chance you can get out to? Hang on 1 minute, Steve.
Okay. I'm sorry. What was that?
He said.
Yeah. Is everyone still online?
He's coming back. Yeah, he is.
I'm back on. Sorry, I just they were doing the testing on the lighting tonight, and I had to reach somebody to make sure the lights got turned on and off. And he just called me.
Yep. All right, I couldn't hear what you had said. Okay. Yep. The item we have on the agenda here is this particular item is a change order from being processed by our architect. This is from the Ledyard High School Track and Field Project. And let me just scroll to the right spot here. This is change order number 1 from Castle Booz. It's actually it's a negative $35,715 change order, but in reality, what it actually is doing is moving money around between the allowance. So what's happening here is we're making a change for changing the water service trenching, a $23,000 credit, another $12,000. Make sure I got this right here. Is we have a $50,000 electrical allowance, and we're taking $35,000 out of the allowance. Is that correct, Wayne?
Yes, that's going to fund the piping that went in for the electrical conduits and the water service. So at this point, we haven't touched the contingency. We're still within the budget.
Right. So at this point here, what we're doing is we don't expect to use that $50,000 electrical except in this conduit here. So in the end, we still have $14,000 and change left in the allowance. All we're doing is authorizing them to use the allowance, correct?
Correct.
All right. So with that, this is change order request number 1, dated January with an extra R on the end, 14th, 2020. and for the contract with a May 15th, 2020 change order date to H.I. Stone and Sons as the contractor, but it's again being run through, actually, this is a Stone change order, not a Castle Booze change order. So can you, I'm taking a look at how it's worded in the agenda. It's actually the change order one is actually misworded here. It's actually Stone's change order.
H.I. Stone. Okay, I'll make that correction.
But we're voting on what we see here actually as the change order that's embedded, so we're fine. So this change order is in order. It's been signed by Stone and Castle Booze. With that, I move that we accept the change order.
Second, Steve Shuttleworth.
Second by Mr. Shuttleworth. Is there any discussion on this change order? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the change order signify by saying aye. Steve Juskowitz, aye.
Steve McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Kavitsky, aye.
Kate DePalma Herb, aye.
Steve Shuttleworth, aye.
There we go.
Gary Schneider, aye.
All right, thank you, Gary. All right, with that, the change order is accepted. Moving on to number 2, motion to approve. This is payment application number 5 to H.I. Stone in the amount of $337,630. This has been signed by Stone. It's been notarized. It's been signed by Castle Booze, and also it's in order. Just to let you know, we still have about $1.3 million left, including retainage on this. They are holding back 5% on retainage. We paid them to date $605,000, just to give you an example here. So today's payment is $337,630 even. It is in order. It makes sense. With that, I move that we make payment on application 5 to H.I. Stone.
Second, Steve Shuttleworth.
Second by Mr. Shuttleworth. Do we have any discussion on this application? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the application for payment signify by saying your name and aye. Steve Juskowitz, aye.
Steve McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Kavitsky, aye.
Kate DePalma Herb, aye.
Steve Shuttleworth, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Okay. With that, the application is approved. Okay, the next 2 items. The first one is Tri-State Materials. Wayne, we had talked about this over the phone. This was all work being done back in April when they were pouring concrete on, and this is materials test lab kind of work. And this, we have this bill here. This is outside the scope of what Stone had to do, correct?
Yes, most of the testing was stones, but the actual concrete was not. We had talked and we agreed to do the testing on the goalpost foundations and stuff. Eric went ahead and told them to do testing on the curbing because he felt that that was critical. I told him to reach out to you on that. I don't know if he ever did.
Well, we did talk. I remember him talking about the goalpost, and the concern on the goalpost was one of liability.
Right.
In the event that a goalpost with wind were to come down on someone, the few $100s of testing would be eaten up in a lawyer's bill in about 10 seconds. But this is expected work. I was actually kind of surprised we didn't include it. Now, the only question I have on this before I go any further, because it's only $2,000 and it makes sense, is whether or who got the results back for this? Where did they go?
The results went to Eric, myself, and Stone, and they all came back within specification on the concrete. We're still waiting on the final tests. There's I think a 28-day test or something like that, a 45-day test. We're still waiting for that final one, but the concrete has met specifications at its last test.
Understand. Okay, so with that, does anyone on the committee have any questions for Wayne with respect to this testing? This is similar to the testing we did with in the school projects where we did thousands of yards of concrete as opposed to a small amount. If there is no questions, then I move that we make payment to Tri-State Materials Testing Lab for their invoice in the amount of $2,059.31.
Second, Steve Shuttleworth.
Second by Mr. Shuttleworth. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the invoice, signify by saying your name and I. Steve Jeskowitz, aye.
Steve McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Trubisky, aye.
Kate Palmer Herb, aye.
Steve Shuttleworth, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Okay, with that, the invoice is approved. All right, so Wayne, on this one, you talked about light testing tonight. I remember at a previous meeting, we were talking about having to adjust the lights after for reflectivity being different with the field, where the light bounces off different and stuff. And I think there was some other concerns about height. Just the field is actually a different height than it was.
Basically, this
so can you-
is the testing to see if there is any adjustment needed. So we won't know until for a few days after they complete this test, if any adjustment is needed. Stone wants to get this in, so if we have to bring in an aerial equipment to adjust the lights, it can be done before the track is surfaced.
All right, so here's my questions on this one is, so this is something that we didn't include in the contract to begin with. This is us going to Musco?
Correct.
Okay, so here's what I don't understand. So let's say they do a test tonight and they say, yeah, we have to adjust the lights. Do they have to come back out again?
Yeah, they're gonna, well, they're not coming out with aerial lifts and everything tonight. They're just coming out with one guy with a light meter to, walk around the field and take the light readings. But yes, they're gonna have to come out, and basically bring some kind of high aerial lift in that can get up and reach these lights. They're probably 100 feet in the air, and then adjust them to whatever the specification is.
All right, so this is something we didn't budget for or plan for. So if they have to come back and adjust them again, then Musco has to come back out again too, right?
I would tend to think that they would come out at the same time to make sure that they're adjusted to the right level, or the company that's doing it would have to take and certify the levels at certain points. But I can check with Eric and I'll have an answer for you at the next meeting.
So the IES standard, the standards for this, obviously, so that the lights aren't in kids' eyes, they don't get hurt. I understand all that.
Yep.
So is adjustment of the lights within Stone's contract?
No, the cost of that is not within their contract. I don't know why Eric didn't allow some kind of allotment in there or allowance for that type of thing, or Luke.
Okay, this will be eating into our contingency then. So I guess at this point here, looking at this, bringing that aerial truck out, they have to move those things, adjustment, another thing of Musco here. Let's see what happens when they test tonight. When was the last time these lights were adjusted? Do we have any clue?
I would assume when they were put in.
Okay. Kate, do you or Steve Shuttleworth, you were on Board of Ed for a while. Do you guys have any idea when those lights were put in? Does anybody?
I'm not sure. They did the new stadium seating before I got on the board, so I don't know if it was done in conjunction with that. I don't really know.
Well, I don't know if this is going to be one of those things like when you get your front end alignment done in your car, where you always have to somehow need one. And I guess the question we have to ask ourselves here is, how far off do they have to be before they have to be adjusted? And Wayne, I'm guessing that you guys don't have the equipment to go up there and change any of those lights. So
No.
I guess one of the questions is what?
We would speak with the fire department to bring in their aerial lift if we had to do it, or we'd have to contract it out. And I don't think this is something that has to be done on a regular basis. The reason that they're doing it now is that the turf field is much more reflective than the grass and dirt field. So they need to see if there have to be readjusted for that.
Well, I guess the
They both
question.
are up there. Are every one of them working? How do you change them?
Yes, yes, we've already tested them. They're all working. We can still maintain reasonable light levels with a few bulbs out, but if, too many go out, more
How do
than,
you get in to change them?
We'd have to bring an aerial lift of some type in. In the past, I've reached out to the fire department who brought their, 100-foot aerial ladder run, and we've used that to change them. But if they're not available or they can't get in there, we would have to hire, either a lull or some type of aerial lift to come in there.
Well, yeah, the only reason I asked that question is because if in fact, we had bulbs, maybe Jerry's thinking the same thing. If we had bulbs that were burned out, this is the time to replace them, obviously, probably before we did testing.
Yeah, I already had them on and tested, and all the bulbs currently are working.
All right, so in the future, so the meantime between failure on these things is so many hours of operation, and now that we have the super Wamidine field, everyone's going to want to use it, and the lights will be on a lot more, I'm sure. So but to change those bulbs in the future, we would then, you're reasonably confident we get the fire department in there. Can they drive on the track to do this?
Well, there is a access road on the visitor side, so they would not have to reach into the track on that side. But yes, they would have to drive on the track. I would think we'd have to put down plywood or something, as they went down. That's a heavy vehicle, and I wouldn't be putting it on that track without some kind of protection for it.
Yeah, well, the only reason I'm asking that question is how much, weight on is that void our warranty or do anything along those lines? So
I'd have to check with Eric. If push comes to shove, if we can't use their vehicle, we would have to get some kind of cherry picker type lift that could get up in there.
And there's two lights on each side of the field, right?
Yes, there's two stanchions on each side.
All right. Yeah, the ones on the school side, I think the roads there are pretty easy to get to. It's the grandstand side that kind of concerns me there. An ambulance and a fire truck are very different in weight. So
yeah, especially the lift. We might be able to get them from the fields down below, like the baseball field. We might get close enough to get in to be able to service them with their ladder from there.
Okay, so right now this test is ongoing tonight, correct?
It's ongoing tonight. The email I got from Stone a little while ago was they should be there about 8:30 and take about an hour to do the test.
All right, so I guess we don't have a whole lot of a choice here. And I guess the question is as we look at this moving forward, if they come out and say, hey, you need a small adjustment here, you're a little bit off, are we obligated to make a change on this? Is there some state standard that we have to meet to play on this field?
I don't know. I will ask Eric. To be honest, I'm not sure. I think it would be more of a safety issue or something like that than anything else. If it becomes too reflective, where it's blinding people at a certain point in the thing, or if there's a shadow where they're not going to be able to see, the ball, if it's kicked in the air, be able to receive on it, or they're staring into the lights if they are. So we'll find out.
Yeah, my only concern is I don't think we can make the lights not as bright. All we can do is adjust the angle, right?
Correct. And that's all we'd be doing is adjusting the angle. So it's they're not shining into the air. I guess if they are that bright, we could always, take the bulbs out of X, one or two, if that become necessary. But I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think it's more just adjusting the angle of them.
All right, let's see how the test comes out. So it looks like this is one of those things we've already ordered. So, all right. So with that, I move that we approve the Musco Sports Lighting invoice dated 3 June 2020, the amount of $2,200 for light level testing and report.
I'll second.
Does anyone, second by Kate Palmer-Herb, any questions or discussion? Okay, if there are none, all in favor of approving we're approving the quote. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Wayne. We actually, is this a bill or is this the quote?
I believe that's the quote. And then once it's complete, we'll get a bill with the results.
Okay, so in this case here, we're just approving the quote then. So with that, all in favor of approving the quote, signify by saying aye. Steve Jeskowitz, aye.
Steve McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Tomansky, aye.
Kate DePalma Herb, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
All right, and I didn't hear Steve Shuttleworth. You might have broke out. You still there, Steve?
I don't see him there anymore.
All right, well, we have enough for to approval, so motion carries. All right, that takes care of the high school track and field project. By the way, Wayne, keep the pictures coming. The pictures look good. I've had good feedback from people in the town.
Yeah, no, it does look
all right,
really
so-
good. Yep.
It does, especially on a nice bright blue sky day when all the colors there. All right, so possible action on the high school asbestos removal project. Wayne, just want to give us a quick update there.
Yep. Work is progressing along very nicely. They expect to be finished with the asbestos removal by the end of this week. And then they'll start the process of re-insulating the piping. I did get a tentative invoice for the asbestos removal section from the contractor today for $168,000. I sent that off to Mystic Air so they can verify the amount of work that's been completed and sign off on that before our next meeting so that hopefully you can approve it at the July 6th meeting. And then there'll be left the insulation section. We do have some leaking pipes down there. So once the asbestos is complete, I want my crew, I've already told them, is going to go down there and mark off the areas where we have to do repair work so that they do not insulate that. They can leave us the insulation and we will insulate that area once we've completed the replacement and repair of those pipes.
Okay, thanks for the update, Wayne. Anything else on the asbestos removal project?
No, actually it's going along really well.
All right, so with that, that's the last item on our agenda. Do we have any other items that are on the agenda that we want to discuss in a special meeting? Okay, not hearing any, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Second, Steve McIntyre.
All right, we are adjourned. Have a great night, everybody, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.